Folks, welcome back to Nostalgianomics. My name's Alex. Today we're going to respond to Pokemon Knowledge's video trying to trash me and my views on the vintage slab investing market. In doing so, however, it was a complete and utter failure. He single-handedly, in one video, became the biggest gatekeeper in all of Pokemon. Let's hear it for him. Let's hear it for him. He deserves some applause for that one. He made a statement in his video that if you are not investing in PSA 10 slabs, you're not an investor. That's what investors buy. Meaning, if you can't afford the thousands and tens of thousands of dollar price points on these cards, you can't do it. You can't invest. Me, however, I think anyone's welcome. Come to my channel. I'll talk about how you can invest in things that have $20 and $30 price points, like collection boxes or collector's chests, which you would have already made a profit on, by the way. You can invest in ETBs in the $30s to $50 range. You can invest in booster boxes in the $80 to maybe $110 range. There's a lot of price options. There's something for everyone's budget. But according to Pokemon Knowledge, you need to have thousands and tens of thousands of dollars if you consider an investor in vintage slabs, because PSA 10 is the only way to be one. Now, in his video, he liked to talk about the glory days. A lot of people out there are like that. They like to go back and relive kind of the best times. They don't like to talk about the here and now, though. They don't like to live in the reality of what's happening now. The reality is, yes, he's 100% right. We have to give him credit where credit's due. If you would have been in back in 2016 and been able to get those crazy low prices, you would have done extremely well. Here's the problem. How many people nowadays in the hobby watching channels like mine or his, looking for advice, looking for data, looking for information, were in back then? And how many people have got into the hobby very recently, during the boom, in the past 2 years? So I thought I'd show the same exact cards for full transparency, these same exact cards he showed in his video, how you'd be doing if you were to take his advice of putting money into these scarce, low population cards in Skyridge, and how they're performing compared to how Modern Steel product was performing during the same time period. Let's take a look, shall we? First card up that he showed was the Hollow Alakazam from Skyridge. Now again, $1,400 price point. If you cannot afford that, then you cannot be an investor in this card, according to PK. Let's go down. So, almost 2 years ago now, in 2020, you would have been buying this card at $1,000. Now, it's worth a little over $1,400. You're talking about a 40 to 45% gain. Now, while this gain is good for a traditional investment that's over 20% a year, this goes to my whole point about Crimson Invasion booster boxes, which he mocked multiple times during his video. A Crimson Invasion booster box outperformed this card during that 2 year stretch. It outperformed it. You could have still bought that box in the $80 and $90 range, and now it's in the $160 to $170 range, giving it somewhere around a 90 to 100% gain in that same time frame. Therefore, just buying a random sealed Crimson Invasion booster box off eBay, throwing it in the closet, you would have done better than investing in a $1,400 card. $1,400. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Let's move on though. Arcanine, the Hollow Arcanine from Skyridge. How's it been doing? Well, again, if you go all the way back to here, you're doing very well. For most people who got in the hobby around now, how have you been doing since you've been watching Pokemon Knowledge's channel over the past couple years that he's had it and been talking about, vintage slabs? How have you been performing since he's been giving advice on it? Well, you could have bought it for $950 back in 2020. It would have only been worth about $1080 up until a few months ago, so you would have made about 10%. And now it had one sale and it jumped up to maybe 30, 35% on your money. Okay, not bad. Again, Crimson Invasion outperformed it, but hey, not bad. I mean, better than a traditional investment, I would say. But yeah, Crimson Invasion, still better than a Hollow Arcanine from Skyridge. Interesting. Let's move on. Hollow Flareon from Skyridge. $1,600 price tag. You know the rules. If you can't afford it, you can't be an investor in this card. Don't pay attention to the 9, 8, 7s, and so on. If you can't afford the 10, you cannot invest. I don't make the rules, apparently. Let's go down here. So all the way back a year ago, this is May, so 2 full years ago, this card was $850, and now it has flatlined over the past almost year for $1,600. So you made 100% of your money. Congratulations, we finally caught up to Crimson Invasion. But oh wait, every other set in Sun and Moon outperformed this very well. Meaning, if you threw a dart at the board and hit any other box in Sun and Moon besides Crimson Invasion, you outperformed this by another 100, 200, 300% at very least. And so, yeah, I can't say it's a bad play. I mean, I'll give him credit where credit's due, but I still hold on to my opinion that you'd have done so much better investing in Modern Sealed, and it's a lot easier to find Modern Sealed than trying to hunt down one of these bad boys, right? So, yeah, to each his own, though. To each his own. Skyridge Moltres. Here we go. $1,200 price point. You know the rules. If you can't afford it, you can't invest. How's it been doing? Well, let's take a look. 2020, this is June. So, almost 2 years ago now, if you would have put your money into this at $1,425, you'd be down almost $200. You'd be down over 10% on your money in 2 years. So not only did you not make the hundreds of percent gains that I made putting money into Modern during this time, and I've actually sold up till now, so I've actually realized those gains. It's already in my pocket. Doesn't matter if the prices drop now. I've already made the gains. You're still sitting in a card that you're down $200 on. You haven't made money, so you have dead money sitting in something for 2 years. While you could have had it in income-producing products because you could have been moving in and out of them with the gains. This is what these cards have been doing. Flat, if not down. So, I don't know exactly when Pokemon Knowledge started his channel. I know it was a couple years ago. It was probably somewhere around this time. So, when he started his channel and started talking about these cards, he was talking about gains that he saw back here. The people starting to watch him who started getting in around here, you've lost money. You've lost hundreds of dollars. Just showing the charts. Just showing the charts. Let's check this out. Here it is, the king himself, Charizard, Crystal Charizard, a $13,000 price tag right now. If you can't afford it, you cannot invest. You know the rules. So $13,000 price point. Let's check how it's been doing. Well, if you would have got in back in 2020, May 2020 for $8,000, well, you've been doing pretty well. You'd be up, I don't know what exactly that is, maybe 60, 70% on your money or so. Not bad. Not bad. Not as good as a Crimson Invasion booster box, apparently, but it's not bad. Here's the thing, though. What about when you're still recommending these cards a year ago? When you're still talking about how great Skyridge and how great these vintage slabs are? A year ago, these were $21,000. You would have lost someone $7,000 to $8,000 telling them this is a good investment at these prices a year ago. How has Modern Sealed done since the drops? Well, it hasn't dropped that much at all. Nowhere near these prices. Nowhere near, a 40% drop. But hey, I understand if you just, love Skyridge. As an investor, I would much rather, sell during these times. And you can always buy the card back now while still banking thousands of dollars to use elsewhere. But hey, I know we're not talking about good investing here. We're just talking about holding on to cards because they're rare and have low pop reports. I really don't know what else to say about this. In Pokemon Knowledge's video, he talked a lot about how bad he felt for people losing money buying into ETBs at pre-release, or booster boxes at retail, like Battle Styles at $144 or Shining Fates at $120. So he's worried about people losing $70 or $80 or $60 on a box, but apparently he's not worried about someone losing $7,000 to $8,000 on a card. Or with the Moltres, he's not worried about someone losing hundreds of dollars on a card over the course of 2 years. I don't know. To me, it's sad anytime someone loses money, but I would definitely take the $60 to $80 downside risk compared to the $7,000, $8,000. Just me, though. Just me. To each their own. Let's look at another card he liked to look at was the Crystal Ho-Oh. How's it been doing? Well, nothing. It's just been sitting. Ever since this year, or this month in 2020, 2 years ago, it's absolutely flatlined. You would have made no gains at all. And so you would have let your money sit stagnant in a card for 2 years while you could have been making gains and plays elsewhere. And for $4,600, that's a lot of money to let sit in a card for 2 years. Again, if you can't afford it, you can't even be an investor, because to be a true investor in vintage slabs, you have to buy 10s. His words, not mine. But yeah, so you're letting $4,500 sit here. How much money could you have made buying Modern Sealed, or flipping items, or buying singles and grading them, or doing anything over those past 2 years? Exponential percent gains, other than letting money sit in a card that doesn't move. But hey, that's what Pokemon Knowledge likes to talk about doing, and this is what he recommends doing. So I guess can carry on. Carry on. Crystal Celebi, $2,500, $2,600 price tag. If you can't afford it, you can't invest. You know the rules. Let's see how it's been doing. Let's see. May 2020, it was $2,600. today you'd be down about $100, $200. Okay, down or even, something like that. I mean, again, no move. You're letting dead money sit in the card. I mean, I guess if you enjoy the card, you want it for your collection, great. But if we're talking about an investment, terrible investment. Crimson Invasion far outperformed this card. So, Crimson Invasion Booster Box, Crystal Celebi PSA 10. The Crimson Invasion Booster Box wins. I know, you can't make up these stories, but they're right in front of our eyes. Now, I do want to talk about the Hollow Houndoom. He threw this card in at the very end. I get it. Blind Squirrel finds a nut once in a while. If you throw enough darts at the board, you're going to hit a bullseye. Great card. Look at this. If you would have bought into Houndoom back in May of 2020, over 2 years ago, you would have made a very sizable gain. You would have made a probably 5 times your money gain. That's great. I'm not going to say one bad thing about that. The bad thing I'm going to say is if you would have invested in all of them equally, you would have been losing $7,000 to $8,000 on the Charizard. You would have been stagnant on a lot of the investments, barely up on some. And so as an overall portfolio of holding all the Skyridge Hollows and Crystals, you still would have been much better off just buying one of each Sun and Moon booster box and sitting on it at retail, because all of those booster boxes, at very worst, Crimson Invasion was 100% up. At very best, Team Up was somewhere around 700% up. And so a good average would be like 300 to 400% on your money. So you'd have been, 300 to 400% on average, compared to, if you take average of all these, nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. But hey, if you would have gotten the Houndoom, you would have done very well. But again, only thing I'm trying to say is that don't listen to people that talk about 2016 until now, because those prices are no longer available. Those prices are not going to be available again. And what matters is the here and now. People want to know what they should be looking at in the here and now. And the fact is, ever since, this year, 4 months ago, I've been making 40, 50, 80% gains on some of my modern sealed items I bought this year. We're talking 4 to 5 months of growth, where all of these cards have been flatlining. I mean, you can just look at them. Look, here, absolutely flatline for almost a year now. Arcanine, look at this. This is a year ago. Flatline, if not down. Flareon, absolutely flatline for a year. It goes on. And this is the Moltres, flatline, if not down. The Charizard, down, flatline. Crystal Ho-Oh, absolute flatline, stagnant. Crystal Celebi, down, if not flat. And Houndoom, again, flat. You'd have made a gain if you were in here. If you'd have bought into 2021, you're sitting with no gain. It's not moving. It's not selling anymore. And so my point is that there's still so much more opportunity in modern sealed product. The gains that I have seen already this year outweigh any of the gains that anyone's seen in Skyridge cards this year, because they're all sitting flat, not moving, if not moving down. And so I want to make sure you get the whole story, because yeah, it's easy to go relive the glory days and say if you'd have been back in 2015, 2016, you could have bought all these cards super cheap, made crazy gains. And hey, congratulations to everyone that did. I'm truly happy for you. I'm always happy when anyone makes a gain. I don't care what it's in. It could be in Pokemon. It could be in bath toys. I don't care. All I'm trying to say is, if you're talking about the here and now, what you should have been investing in right now, the last year, the last 2 years, these cards have far underperformed what the rest of the market's done, and there's just no end in sight to their stagnant and their downward trends. And so, hey, invest at your own risk. But again, remember, as the gatekeeper, Pokemon Knowledge says, if you are not buying PSA 10s, you are not investing in vintage slabs. This has been another episode of Alex Makes the Pokemon Community Angry. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments with pushback, and that's fine. I always like to hear both sides of the argument. Hope you come back for a new video in the future. I will be back here with a new video soon. I'm out.